Me?
We are-
Were you asking me?
Monique.
Monique.
I'm muted, sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
I have something at 10, but I could come in the morning if that works.
Oh, that would
Like
be
before.
fabulous. That would be fabulous. Thank you.
All right, it's 7 o'clock, Heather.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to call the school committee to order on August 16th at 7 o'clock. I'd like to read the Douglas mission statement. The Douglas Public School offer a diverse learning experience that meet the academic, social, physical, and emotional needs of all of our students. We provide a safe, supportive, and challenging learning environment in which students may achieve academic success and personal growth. All decisions are made in the best interest of our students. Do we have any student representatives this evening?
We do
Dr.
not.
Vera?
We do not.
Okay. Any old business we need to discuss?
We do not.
Moving on to news business, please.
All right, so welcome back, everyone. Two things on my report tonight. First is an update on the start of the school year. We have our first school committee meeting on September 6th, that Wednesday. I'll have principals and Dr. Rosenthal give a update on how the first few days of school went. But just looking back over the summer, a huge thank you to a bunch of people. Our tech department has done a great job getting things up and running. A lot of work in closing out the FY23 school year, doing the upload to DESE for our end of the year report, rolling over the school year, cleaning all the Chromebooks, polishing all the Chromebooks, replacing missing keys on all the Chromebooks, and getting those ready for students. And that's what they typically do on a regular year. But added to that this year was we replaced all of our phones across the district, put a whole new phone system in. And I wish I could say it's as easy as unplugging the old phone and putting a new one in, but it isn't. So huge thank you to them for their work and getting things ready to start the year. We have a new Food Service Director, Allison Weir, and she's been busy getting things ready and the menu ready. And for the start of the school year, our custodians, as always, have done a wonderful job getting our buildings ready. I've been in them this week, and it looks a little messy, but they've assured me that we will be ready. They're putting those finishing touches on the inside and the outside of the buildings. Our business office doesn't stop, although it might be a little bit of a summer lull for us. For them, it's closing out the FY23 school year, opening up the FY24 school year, making sure that things are ordered. So thank you to Courtney and her department for that. Our principals, assistant principals, deans, and admin assistants, a lot of work behind the scenes. Everything from policies, procedures, opening day agendas, to reordering and reclassifying all the lockers for all the kids coming in. So thank you to them. And finally, to the teachers who've been in the buildings, but also at home doing work to get ready. So we're excited. Teachers are back on the 28th and 29th, that Monday and Tuesday, for professional development. Students come back on Wednesday, the 30th. This week, you can see a different vibe and a different buzz in the building. Things are definitely busier. Again, still some final things to put in place for the start of the school year. We have tryouts starting on Monday for middle school and high school athletics. We have open houses for our 6th grade and 9th graders coming in. So a lot of fun things in store for kids over the next few weeks. And we're excited to have our community back on the 30th. Any questions about the start of the year? All right. I know a couple questions have popped up in terms of busing and bus lists. I know that will be ready usually the Thursday or Friday before the school year starts, somewhere in that time frame. At the latest, that Monday, we want to make sure parents have the time for that. So I know that question has come up. We're really happy that the governor has approved free and universal lunch and breakfast for all students. Ms. Keegan and her department are getting things ready to be able to send out to people. The food service department, there's a huge list that's going out. They're working on a letter to send out to families over the next couple of days, but we're grateful that has happened as well. It's reassuring to know, and it's comforting to know that kids don't have to worry about if they're going to be able to be fed in school. So happy about that to start the year. Next on the agenda is going over my proposed goals and evaluation for the 23-24 school year. Just to update people who may be watching, back in July, the school committee and myself had a goal setting meeting. We met for a few hours and went over the process, talked about the standards, talked about my goals. So here's the work that we did and my goals for the year. There are 4 standards in the evaluation rubric for the superintendent. So what we did is we picked one indicator under each of the standards. So I'd like to present that to the community at large. The first standard is instructional leadership. And the indicator we decided on for that was data-informed decision-making. And really what that means is using multiple forms of data and using that to create a district improvement and action plans to make sure students succeed. So it's really looking at all the data we have in front of us and creating the plans based on that data for students to succeed. Standard 2 was management and operations, and the indicator was environment. And that was to develop effective plans, procedures, routines, operation systems to ensure a full range of safety, health, and social emotional needs of students and making sure they're being met. So making sure the school runs smoothly, making sure we have those policies and procedures, but more importantly, ensuring that the social emotional well-being of our students are at the forefront. Standard 3 is family and community engagement. That's sharing responsibility. And that talks about making sure that we are regularly collaborating with families to address and make sure everyone's on the same page when it comes to a student's academic, social, emotional, and behavioral needs. So it's opening up those lines of communication about what's going on in schools. And then finally, standard 4 is professional culture. And we talked about continuous learning. And that's creating a culture within our schools to make sure that we're all reflective, using student data, current research, and best practice to continuously adapt teaching and learning so that our kids succeed. So those are the 4 standards and the 4 indicators. In terms of goals, came up with 3 goals. Under the professional practice goal, the focus is instructional leadership. And the goal reads that by June 2024, a comprehensive professional development plan for teachers centered around universal design for learning, resulting in increased integration of UDL strategies in the classroom, will be developed and implemented. Last year, you heard me talk a lot about MTSS and the MTSS system, and that the goal for last year was to make sure that everyone had a strong foundation in understanding what MTSS is. This year, we are building on that foundation, actually framing the house. And we're going to be doing a lot of work with UDL. For those who may not know what UDL, it's really making sure that teachers are presenting information in ways that are engaging to students, in ways that students, and presenting information in multiple ways to students, and giving kids multiple ways that they can engage with the information. The key point here is to make sure that we're removing barriers that obstruct kids from being able to learn and have access to the curriculum, and removing those barriers by engagement, by presenting information in multiple ways, by having students engage in information in multiple ways. Second goal is under instructional leadership. And we're going to go with principals who will review individual school data to ensure that 100% of students are at or above grade level by June 2024. Ms. Sosha took on that lofty 100% goal last year, and we're going to continue that. We're going to be able to do that in K to 8 using our STAR and NWEA data, and we're going to go for 100% of the kids, and we're going to aim high. We didn't want to set a goal at 80% or 90%. We want all of our kids to be at or above grade level. At the high school, again, they don't have access to that data. We're going to be looking a lot at our AP scores, our MCAS scores, and at our SAT scores. And then finally, the district improvement goal is under management and operations. We're going to refine and adapt our current SEL program that are focused on the CASEL competencies. And we're going to make sure that these are implemented in daily morning meetings in grades pre-K to 5, the SEL long block in grades 6 to 8, and advisory in 9 through 12. We met last May with principals, and I really wanted them to revamp that morning meeting and that SEL block. I know they've done a lot of work this summer in putting together professional development plans to give teachers resources for what they can do in those morning meetings and in the advisory. I know is part of the agendas on the 28th and the 29th. So we really want to beef up that SEL morning meeting, making sure that it happens, making sure that there are those strategies in there, making sure that we're working on those soft skills for students, making sure we're showing them how to be empathetic, how to be kind, and all the important things that go into making and addressing the whole child. So those are the 3 goals for the year for me. I'm going to have principals present their goals at September 6th, but I want to present mine first to start off the school year. They'll present theirs on the 6th along with Dr. Rosenthal. But I want to open it up for questions now, and then later on in the consent agenda portion of the meeting, I'll ask for a motion to approve. Questions?
I don't have any questions.
We went over these pretty well in July, so I don't have any questions either.
All right. That is all I have then for tonight. So we'll go on to the next part of our agenda. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving over to the school committee and subcommittee, the accounts payable report. Looking in the packet. Do we have an accounts payable report, Courtney?
Yes, we do. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. The first one was warrant 55, school 23, warrant date 6/30/2023. There were 5 batches for a total amount of $217,064.61. There were no questions when Beth signed the warrants, no questions or issues. I don't know if anybody else has any questions or. Did you want me to do I'm sorry?
I said thank you. Is there anything else with the next batch?
Yep, the next one is warrant number 56, school 23, warrant date 6/30/2023. There were 5 batches in the amount of $61,774.75. Again, no questions or issues. Does anyone have any questions on that one? Okay, the next one we had was 6, warrant 6 for school 24, for the FY24, obviously, and the warrant date was 8/10/2023. There were 3 batches in the total amount of $114,314.42. Again, no issues or questions. Does any other school committee member have any questions? Okay. And the final one that we have this evening is warrants 7, school 24, and middle school 24-01, warrant date 8/17/2023. That included 4 batches for the total amount of $55,881. Again, no questions or issues. Any questions on that one from the school committee? All set? Okay, so that does conclude the accounts payable report.
Thank you so much, Courtney.
You're welcome.
Moving on to the consent agenda, we have to review the July 24th meeting minutes. If no one has any issues, I'd be looking for a motion.
I didn't see anything. Everything looked fine to me.
Yeah, I didn't see anything either when I reviewed.
Okay.
I don't see anything either, so I am going to move that we approve the July 24th, 2023 school committee meeting minutes.
Motion made by Teresa, seconded by Monique. Roll call vote, please.
Brooks, aye.
Monique Southside.
Heather Moore and I. Thank you. Moving on to the Douglas High School approval of out-of-state athletic contest.
Mr. Ringett, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you, Mr. Vieira. Thank you, school committee, for having me here. I am happy to be at my first official school committee meeting for the Douglas School District. So yes, I request an approval for out-of-state athletic contests. Increasingly, athletic contests are taking place just over the border in either Connecticut or Rhode Island. For example, some of the golf team's scheduled matches will be held in Thompson, Connecticut. The track team does have meets in Rhode Island throughout the year. And I would like to just kind of have this out on the table for all of our athletic programs throughout the entire school year at this point. So we don't have to rehash this every time a team requests to go across the border to have a competition.
Just as a point of reference for people maybe watching, school committee policy that anything that takes place over state lines has to be approved by school committee, and trips, any events, proms. So with our athletic teams constantly being back and forth, historically, we've always asked for athletic approval for the school committee in one lump sum, so we're not going back and forth multiple times.
Anybody have any questions? If not, I'd be looking for a motion.
I move to approve permission for the athletics program at DHS to participate in regularly scheduled matches and games held out of state for the 2023-2024 school year.
Motion made by Teresa, seconded by
Monique,
Monique. All those in favor with a roll call vote, please.
Brooks, I.
Monique Salvas, aye.
Heather Moore and I. Thank you. Moving over to the Douglas Middle School, approval for the out-of-state athletic contest.
Thank you, and good evening, everyone. Nice seeing everyone again. This fall, we have another opportunity to go to the Rhode Island cross-country event. This was put on hold due to COVID a few years back. We went last year, and it was very successful. And tonight, I'm asking for school committee approval for out-of-state travel for our cross-country meet to Rhode Island.
Any questions from school committee members? If not, I'd be looking for a motion, please.
I move to approve permission for the DMS cross-country team to be allowed to travel to Rhode Island this season for the 2023 Ocean State Cross Country Invitational.
Motion made by Teresa, seconded by
Monique,
Monique. Roll call vote, please.
Brooks, I.
Monique Salvas, aye.
Heather Moore and I. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Moving over to the Douglas High School established class of 2027 student activity account.
Hello, it's me again. So this year's freshman class, the class of 2027, does need to establish its student activities account. The class has elected officers, including a treasurer, and Miss Ryan has been appointed as the class advisor. She will participate in training with Ms. McDermott on the proper handling of student activity funds and procedures pursuant to the student activity account guidelines for the Douglas Public Schools. So I was hoping to approve the opening of the student activity account for the class of 2027.
Any questions from the school committee members? If not, I'd be looking for a motion.
I move to approve the creation of a student activity account for the class of 2027.
A second.
Motion made by Monique, seconded by Teresa. Roll call vote, please.
Brooks, I.
Monique Salvas, aye.
Heather Moore and I. Thank you. Next is the Douglas High School handbook update.
Yes, so we have a few handbook updates for this coming year. The student handbook is a document that acts essentially as a contract between the school and its students. As people and technology change, so must the language in our student handbooks. The handbook changes that I am looking to move would be regarding to attendance. Students currently can have their credit restored by serving a grade recovery time after school to make up for unexcused absences in excess of 5 at a rate of 2 hours of recovery time per unexcused absence. We would like to add to that with the addendum that says with a maximum of 10 unexcused absences, and that any unexcused absence beyond 10 would require a student to have no unexcused absences for the following quarter in order to earn their grade and credit back. The second change that we were looking at too is according to tardiness, students who are tardy unexcused more than 30 cumulative minutes over a 2-week period will be assigned a detention equal to the amount of time they have been late. We would like to adjust that to a matrix that seems a little bit more fair, a little more clear, I think, where a student who is tardy 4 times would receive 45 minutes of office detention. 7 tardies would be an hour and a half worth, and 9 tardies would essentially be 3 hours worth. And anything beyond that, we would obviously kind of look into other alternatives, contracts, things like that, with the students to try to get them into school as much as possible, possible removal of privileges, and a possible Saturday detention would be options for those beyond 9 tardies. That, again, working on student attendance, that's one of our biggest deals, get the students in on time and every day. The third change is a financial change. It's proposed that class dues are currently set at $40 per person. The request is to increase class dues $5 per person for a total of $45 per person for the upcoming school year. The reasons behind that is that the cost for proms and other student activities that they get to go to, and all of the costs have increased. And the class officers and the class advisors have said that we're trying to offset as much as we can. So with an increase of $5 per student, that would help offset those prices upcoming. The final change that we are proposing is under the academic dishonesty, cheating, and plagiarism piece of our handbook. We want to include under that clause that the improper use of artificial intelligence also be included under academic dishonesty. We've seen a rise in ChatGPT and other AI mechanisms for students to write papers and to solve problems. We don't want them not to use it, but we want them to use it appropriately. And we want them to still be able to think for themselves and provide those thoughts, to us and show us all the promise that they have. So that's why we want to add that to our handbook as well. So those are the 4 changes that we have proposed.
Any questions among the school committee?
I had a quick question about the tardiness. So when you go to the matrix, are you still considering a tardy more than 30 minutes late?
So these tardies are unexcused tardies.
Okay.
Not excused tardies. So it's really not necessarily a time frame per se. It's more of why were you late? Was there something that happened at home? Did you get a note from your parents? Did we even get a phone call from a parent or guardian saying, oh, your child's going to be late due to the car or due to having to get their sibling, taken care of, or something along those lines. These are unexcused tardies.
Okay. And then the other question I had was in terms of grade recovery. So can you talk about that a little bit more about what happens?
Yes. So the way Douglas works is that after 5 absences in a quarter, there happens to be there's a loss of credit situation where they earn an administrative 50. Okay. We don't want to put students completely behind the 8 ball. We want to give them a chance to be able to make all that up. So we have attendance recovery. We have this matrix set up as to, after so many absences, you've got to earn that time back. You have to give us that time back. You've been out of school this much. We need that time back. We want you in school. The state itself has come down on many districts about chronic absenteeism. So any student that's missed more than 10% of their schooling, they want to eliminate that as much as possible. So as schools, we have to offer, certain penalties, but we also have to offer certain redemptions. And in being able to offer the redemption, we have a way of, okay, here's our system. If you've missed 10 days of school within a term, that is a very different situation. It rises to a new level in the state, and ultimately no student should really be missing more than just a day or so, throughout the school year. But in a term, if a student were to hit 10 absences, we're talking more of the what's really going on at home. Do we have an attendance contract in place? What are we talking about as far as, how do we get them to school? What's their blockage for not coming? Is it them? Is it an outside influence? We have a lot more to uncover during that period. But in offering these hours of makeup, we also offer them a chance to, okay, maybe November was a bad month because it may have brought up some previous trauma or something. Let's get you guys going. Let's get you back re-engaged. Let's get you on track again. But yeah, we need to offer a way for students to definitely be successful. And this is 100% like a way to do it.
I think one of the questions, correct me if I'm wrong, Monique, was what are the kids doing during that grade credit recovery time? Because I know they're staying after school. What is it that they're actually doing during that time?
Yeah, that's part of that, yeah.
So during that time, they will make up assignments. They will receive some remedial help if needed. If again, I have to dig into a little bit more data, but if they are one of our students that, let's say, did not meet expectations for MCAS, that would be one of our target pieces with them as well. But yeah, we would have specific targets for them in certain classes to make up their work.
And then if they don't do the credit recovery, they just have to keep their administrative 50.
Yeah, that is the maximum essentially that they would be able to get at that time. I believe the minimum would be a 45, according to the student handbook.
Any other questions? If not, I'd be looking for a roll call vote, please.
We need a motion first.
I'm making the motion, sorry.
I move to approve the updates of the student handbook for DHS for the 2023-2024 school year.
I second.
Motion made by Monique, second by Teresa. Roll call vote, please.
Brooks, aye.
Monique Salvis, aye.
Heather Moore and I. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks. Moving over to the Douglas Elementary handbook updates.
I don't know if Anthony just.
Hi, everyone. How are you?
Finding you.
Good, good. Welcome back. Good to see you again.
Nice to see you too
All
as well.
right, so I will. Excellent. All right, so I'll just a few minor tweaks, just some things that we kind of saw coming up that we thought would just make things a little clearer. So so in regards to school delays and or cancellations, we added a line that if there was a question of a school delay or cancellation, please do not call the school and police department. So what was happening was people were calling and, there's nobody there. So then we thought this just to give people a heads up, please, use the website, and we always put stuff on social media as well, but we just didn't want people calling the school and having nobody there to answer. So that's why we put that line in, because it did come up a bunch of times. The next section on page 5 for parent pickup. We added the line, if there is no note provided to the school, your student will be dismissed according to the regular procedure. We had this happen quite a few times where you would have somebody coming up to you at 2:40 saying, hey, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and we have no note to indicate a student could do that. And we have to explain to parents a handful of times and said, unless I have a note, or I cannot release you to bring the child home. So we just wanted that to be in there just as a safety measure as well, and just for some consistent procedural processes. Page 8, there was a section for health information. The only thing we just got rid of was there was a pretty large chart of emojis and symptoms we thought was unnecessary. And so the wording is there, and I think it's sufficient. We thought it was sufficient, so we just did that. Under for treats, this comes up a lot in elementary school. People asking to bring in food for different events. So we just added the line that no outside food can be brought in and distributed to other students during the school day and up to 30 minutes after the end of the school day. This is one of those things that came up a lot of questions. So just want to put it in writing and be clear to everyone. Lunch program. We have the free and reduced lunch forms will be disseminated the first day of school. We still need lunch is free, obviously, but we do need to have them filled out, and they just start to come back through the main office and or the food services department. That was noted differently last year. And for report cards, we added the dates for report cards, progress reports, and thinking that would be a help for parents who are wondering those things. Availability of grades and whatnot for each trimester. So that was to help the communication piece for families. And 2 more quick things. Step Up Day. This wasn't in there last year, so we just wanted to give a little bit more information. So we detailed how first grade students come up from primary and participate with our 2nd, 3rd, and 4th graders. And then 5th graders, in conjunction with Mr. O'Brien, had their own Step Up Day towards the middle school, which went off very nicely this year. So thank you to the middle school for that. And one of the things last year when Dr. Vieira brought in Mr. Fernandez, and we'd had a PD, and he was a keynote speaker on diversity, equity, inclusion, we did a survey, and one of the things that came up was there's a lot of these acronyms in school, and parents don't know, some of them don't know what they mean, and they thought it would be helpful. So somebody suggested, hey, this might be a helpful thing. So we just put together a list of school and educational acronyms to add, thinking that, for all these things, sometimes parents have said to us, I don't know what this means. What does that stand for? So, if I'm not in education, I wouldn't know half of the things. So we just thought it would be helpful for parents. So we added that last piece, and that's it. Any questions? Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine. Any questions? If there are none, I'd be looking for a motion.
I just had a quick question about the Step Up Day comment.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to remember, the 5th graders, they buddy with the 1st graders, is that right? Or they buddy with kindergarten?
First graders, once a month.
Okay. So will they see the 5th graders at all on their Step Up Day or not?
So typically they wouldn't, but they certainly could. The only reason I say that is so when we have our step up day, the fourth graders go to their fifth grade classrooms, and then the fifth graders are taken outside for recess time. But we could certainly have it, plan it accordingly, and have a time for those first graders to kind of get together with their buddies during that recess time. That's a great idea.
Okay, it was just a question. I thought it would be kind of fun for them to see
Yeah.
a familiar when they come in,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know.
Oh, they love it. They love it. They love coming to see their big friends, and it's just really cool. It's a nice collaborative relationship with the primary school.
Thank you.
Thank you, Monique.
If no other questions, I'd be looking for a motion.
I move to approve the updates to the student handbook for DES for the 2023-2024 school year.
Motion made by Teresa, seconded by
Second,
by Monique. Roll call vote, please.
Brooks, aye.
Monique Salvis, aye.
Heather Moore and I. Thank you. Moving on to the vote to approve.
Thank
the
you, guys.
superintendent- Thank you. Moving on to vote to approve the superintendent's goals for 2023-2024 school year. Anyone have any questions on this? If there's no questions, I would like to have someone make a motion, please.
I move to improve the superintendent's goals for the 2023-2024 school year.
Motion made by Teresa, seconded by
Second,
Monique. Roll call vote, please.
Brooks, aye.
Monique Salvis, aye.
Heather Moore and I. Thanks.
Thank you. And I'll have these posted on the website in the next day or two. Excited to get to work on it.
Yes, I think we all are.
Mhm.
Moving on to the school business and operations manager's report.
Hey, good evening. I actually do have a report this evening, and some of it will be repetitive, but I'll go ahead through it anyway. So as we all know, just last Wednesday, the governor signed the state budget, which did include free school meals for all students in the state of Massachusetts. We are finalizing a notice that will be going out to all families and will be posted on the district website. And that does include also additional information required by DESE. So we're just working through that. The bus routes, as Paul had indicated, it does take the rollover, but which was just done just over a week ago. But they also, each school, after that rollover is done, they also have to add in new students and do deletions and things. So my latest update today from Telstone was that the primary and elementary routes are done. She's finalizing the middle school and high school routes. So I expect to see them early next week, and then they will be reviewed. She and I will both review them, expect them to have them out in the very latest, the end of next week. But I'm hoping for Wednesday. I'm shooting for Wednesday. And again, those will be posted on the website. I do send them also to each school. So that will be taken care of. And as we stated earlier, the custodians and the facilities manager have been working very diligently, and we're actually short 2 full-timers, but they've been working very hard in all the buildings and on the grounds. And from the reports that I've heard from the principals, things are going very well in their buildings. I know they're going very well on the grounds. Some work was done on the grounds for upcoming events. Just towards the end of last week, we just got that done as well. There are a few additional things that have to be done before school starts, but I have no reason to believe it won't all be done. We'll be ready to receive all those students and staff and look forward to them coming in for the upcoming school year. Also, I have this evening, just today, we actually finalized everything for the FY 2023 year-end closing. That is great thanks to Ellen and Ashley, my 2 assistants in my office that worked very hard, along with Jean Lovett, the town accountant finance director, and I thank them all profusely. They all do a wonderful job. They work very well together. There's a lot of back and forth, and then I do my piece and everything, but it's a very, a great relationship, actually. I know I've said that a number of times before, but we really do appreciate the relationship that we have, the business office with the finance offices at the town. It's been a wonderful relationship the whole entire 11 years I've been here, and I really do appreciate it. And do appreciate their hard work as well. So I do have for you this evening, we do have some reclasses that we have to do first in closing out the year. So we have some year-end reclasses, reclasses numbers 1, 2, and 3. And then we have transfers number 1 and 2. So the first two reclassifications that we have, well, the first one is just a couple, 3 that are just some cleanup items. The second one is once we do some of the cleanup items, we have the reclasses where we go from school choice to general fund to take up the balance left in the general fund. And then we had a couple more that came up as well after we did that. And then after that, as you know, we do all of the transfers, just moving the money around within the general fund, just to bring every balance, get rid of all the minuses and pluses and just bring it all in balance. So all that work has been done. It's been sent to you earlier today. I'm sorry we couldn't get it to you earlier than that. But I want to make sure first that everyone did receive reclassifications numbers 1, 2, and 3, and then year-end transfers number 1 and 2. You did, all of you received those. Does anyone have any questions with regard to the year-end reclasses and transfers? No questions on those? Okay, so would you like to take, I guess we'd have to take them one at a time for a vote. So would anyone like to make a motion for the FY 2023 year-end reclassifications number 1?
I move to approve, as Courtney said.
The
Number 1.
reclassifications number 1.
Yes, that one.
Okay.
Motion made by Teresa, seconded by,
Second,
second by Monique. Roll call vote, please.
Brooks, aye.
Monique Salvas, I.
Heather Moore and I.
And just for those watching at home, when we have these on our screens and they're sent to us, they're sent sideways. So in order to look at them the right way, you kind of have to tilt your hand to get the right way.
And then you would get dizzy
Look
looking
at
at them
what's
because of
serious,
all
what's
of the
really going on.
transactions. So next we have the FY 2023 year-end reclassifications number 2. And this is the one going from all of the reclasses from school choice to the general fund. Any questions? Would anyone like to make a motion?
I will also move to approve the number 2. Which one is it, Courtney?
It's FY 2023 year-end reclassification number 2.
As said.
Motion made by Teresa, seconded by. Monique's moving, so I'll second. Heather Moore will second it. Roll call vote,
Second.
please.
I second. Sorry, my dogs are going ballistic.
Okay.
It's okay. Roll call vote, please.
Brooks, aye.
Monique Salvas, I.
Heather Moore and I. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, now we have FY 2023 year-end reclassification number 3. These are just 2 additional cleanup items. Would anybody like to make a motion for the FY 2023 year-end reclassification number 3?
I move to approve the FY 2023 year-end reclassification number 3.
Motion made by Teresa, seconded by.
Second,
Second by Monique. Roll call vote, please.
Brooks, aye.
Monique Salvas, I.
Heather Moore and I.
Okay, thank you very much. Next we have transfers. This is the one that's 8 pages long. These are all the transfers just within the general fund just just cleaning up the general fund report. That's all it is. But that's what those 8 pages are. So it's FY 2023 general fund budget year-end transfers number 1. Would anybody like to make a motion for the FY 2023 general fund budget year-end transfers number 1? You could just so move if you'd like.
So moved.
Seconded by,
Second,
second by Monique, motion made by Teresa. All those in favor with a roll call vote, please.
Brooks, aye.
Monique Salvas, aye.
Heather Moore and I.
Okay, last but not least, as far as at least the closing out items, we do have FY 2023 general fund budget year-end transfers number 2. And this is just additional cleanup after I do the 8 pages. So it doesn't always work out perfect. So sometimes we have to do a few more after going through all those different entries. So would anyone like to make a motion for FY 2023 general fund budget year-end transfers number 2? Can so move?
So moved.
Okay. I thought that was
Teresa
easy
makes
to
a
do that
motion.
way.
Yeah, Teresa makes a motion, seconded by,
Second,
second by Monique. All those in favor with a roll call vote, please.
Brooks, aye.
Monique Salvas, aye.
Heather Moore and I.
Okay, thank
Thank
you
you.
very much. Also, I did send to you this evening, although I am going to on September 6th, I will give you a copy of the cleaned up general fund report for FY 2023. And then I'll probably submit again the FY 2023 school department funds report. I just provided it this evening, even though it wasn't specifically on the agenda, just so that you'd see, after all of that, moving and transfers and all of that. These are the year-end balances, but I will be going over it in more depth on September 6th. One of the things that I also provided to you this evening, which I thought was even more important as well, in the school choice and circuit breaker fund actuals. So I updated it. As you know, we have had several updates to these particular reports when we were going through the FY 2024 budget process. So for FY 23, I had projections for both school choice and the circuit breaker. Now you've been provided with the actuals, and also we have the FY 24 projections. One other very important thing I want to bring to the school committee's attention, as you know, we were very, very tight with regard to our budget. In fact, tight isn't even really the word for it. And as we've done in prior years, although it was much more, I guess the word is agonizing this year, we removed a bunch of things from our budget, but very importantly, I do want to report to the school committee this evening that due to a credit in electricity, that the finance director, town accountant was able to actually post the credit back to school choice for electricity use. That was in the amount of just over $154,000. The minute that was done, I immediately sent out an email to all of the principals, and they immediately got back to me with all of their textbook orders, and we immediately processed the purchase order. So I'm really hoping that all of the the teachers and the students have their textbooks. It was very important to me, as I know it was to all of you principals. I'm well aware of that. And it's very painful for me to tell you that you can't get your textbooks, let me tell you. So I'm so happy that we're able to do that. And I thank Jean too for getting that done and posted and taking care of that. The whole credit thing is it's not a simple matter. It's way too complicated for me to explain this evening. We'd have to have a whole 4-hour school committee meeting for that. I bet Heather knows that. But anyway, very, very happy about that. So it did leave a very small balance in addition to what our original projections were. But that being said, as you know, since we had our last update on the budget, things changed. So until we get the actual salary master updated, and I have a chance to actually look at all of the year-end balances, meet with the principals, go over some budget things and things of that nature, I will be providing the school committee with a much more comprehensive update, as it's going to be very important to for all of us to be updated, everybody to be monitoring their budgets very carefully, and for us to be, you know, of course, reporting more often to the school committee, more comprehensively, because we know this is going to be a tough budget year. So once we get started, it's particularly with the salary master being 85% of our budget, there have been a number of position changes. I'll know where we are, the pluses and minuses, but another thing that I want to tell you is I can't use the word prudently conservative anymore in my projections. Because as you know, I was trying to keep as much as I could for all the principals and everybody to have beginning FY24. We really put ourselves out on a limb, and it was kind of scary when I did look at the actuals and see how close I was. So I have to take away that prudent, little bit on the conservative, but not really. So we'll be keeping a really good eye on things going forward. I know that you're all well aware of the kind of precarious situation that we're in. So I will give more information on that on September 6th, but also probably the next large update will be when things get settled, probably would be the first meeting in October. Does anyone have any questions? Any additional questions? Okay, I think that is it. I just want to close with saying again, thank you to everyone with assisting with the year-end closing. And I did forget to also thank the administrative assistants at the school level for their work as well. They work very closely with my staff in my office. Everything went very well. Okay, thank you very much. The next one, oh, I'm sorry.
Okay. Nope, I was just making sure that you didn't miss the next item, so.
Oh, no.
Sorry.
Nope. Okay, thank you. So next on the agenda, last but not least, we have, I did finally get, I don't know if you recall, because it was a while back, that we did an internal audit for the Douglas Middle School Student Activity Fund. So I have presented that to the school committee. There were some issues and a summary of findings that did come up with also some corrective action plan regarding some transactional things. I can say that Mr. O'Brien and I have been in discussions. He's, you know, definitely understands the importance. You know, we've been meeting, discussing it. He did provide a response as well with regard to the findings. And I can assure you that, you know, the issues will be addressed. I have full confidence in that. You know, I know he takes it very seriously, and right now I don't have any concerns that these will be addressed. Does anyone have any particular questions? Okay.
If there's
Any
no questions, I'd be looking for
Oh.
a motion.
Oh, no, we don't have to accept it or anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else, Courtney?
I think that is everything. Does anyone have any questions or about anything coming up, beginning of the school year? Okay. Well, I'm looking forward to the school year and welcoming back all of the staff and the students. So, okay, thank you all very much.
Thank you. Dr. Vera, any topics not anticipated?
Not at this time.
Heather, did we miss a DMS out of state athletics?
No, we did that one.
Bob,
I think
did
it was the
that.
cross country and I moved to approve it.
Yeah,
Oh,
we did
okay.
do that one. We did both
Right.
of them.
Sorry.
No worries. Anything else? Any other topics not anticipated?
not at this time.
If not, I'd be looking for a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn the August 16th, 2023 school committee meeting at 7:52 p.m.
Motion made by Teresa, seconded by
Second,
Monique. Roll call vote, please.
Brooks, aye.
Monique Salvis, aye.
Heather Moore and I. Thank you all so much.
Okay, thank
you, Thank you, everyone.
Have a good
Good
evening.
night. Happy start to the school year. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Have a good trip, Heather.
Drive safely,
Thank
Heather.
you. Thank you.